think we got this. Who?
The Pretty Good Telemark Show. Laughs and stories steal the show. Join the ride, let's have some fun. Skiing adventures for everyone. The Pretty Good Telemark Show. Laughs and stories steal the show. Join the ride, let's have some fun. Skiing adventures for everyone. From tips to tales, they've got the scoop. Tune in now, come join the troop. The Pretty Good Telemark Show. Skiing vibes and a lively flow with Mr. Adam.
I love that you add a new graphic to it every time. It keeps me coming back to this podcast for more.
I'm a hard worker.
I could see by adding, let's see, a thumbnail that I've put on the Bishop website and then the TC skis. It's wow, what an opener. Thank you for waking up my day while I'm just opening up 2025 being sick as a dog.
If only one of us was like a video editor that could have taken this in their own hands and done it themselves.
It's true. We can probably find one on Fiverr though.
Dude, Fiverr's dead.
Is it?
I mean, it's not, but nothing is Fiverr's anymore. Everything's like $1 billion.
Oh, it's bound to happen. I never actually used Fiverr, so kind of glad that I missed it.
It was kind of nice for a minute. Oh, I just found out my friend was on The Price is Right today, like on TV.
Can we bail out of this podcast and go straight to that? Can we?
Yeah.
Root for him?
I wish I had a clip. I'd play it right now.
That's incredible. That's a life dream right there.
What episode are we on?
This is 4. I think this is 4. This is 4. We're halfway through. We're in a new year now. We've gotten 3 in 2024. This is going to be our first in 2025. And we're still here, I guess.
I mean, who can fire us?
I perhaps could fire myself at some point.
Like, we're the biggest, best, only telemark podcast.
I was going to say, there's just so much competition too that it's a big deal to be at the top of the chain here.
Yeah, we are not the only. Actually, dude, the Skippy Report's been going deep. He's been doing deep dive into the females of telemark, and they've been like banger episodes. If no one's listened, you should go listen to the Skippy Report because, you know, we all need love. And we all need this thing to work for everybody. And it takes a lot of time. Telly, your name's Tele now. CJ and I spend, although it doesn't seem like it, but we spend a lot of time kind of trying to get this together and make this work, although it is a little unorganized. So the support helps, sharing the episodes helps, feedback helps.
It's kind of like the hair products that you buy to make it look like you just got out of bed. It's like we put a lot of time and effort for this. This just seems so cruddy and loose.
I just use petroleum-based jelly in my hair. That's really all that goes into my hair, honestly. Or like hand lotion. That really stresses Jess out.
That is
I'm like, I need lotion. She's like, don't put it in your, and she puts it on my hand, and I'm like,
this is going to be the moment that I actually fire myself right here because that's too far. Always thought you were going to be an Aquanet man.
I don't have to split all the money I make then with this.
Now you can buy your second home. Congratulations.
Yeah, in Tahoe, probably.
Oh my God. Well, Adam, it's 2025. We're in a new year. Telemark feels fresh again all of a sudden.
Yes, it does.
We feel fresh again, despite the fact that I just want to lay down in bed because I am starting 2025 off with a bang, and the bang being just an absolute gnarly cold, which is a bummer, but we will get through this. We get into this new year and we're going to tell ourselves that we're doing different things with our lives. Every year we do this because this is our perfect jump start. You got any New Year's resolutions in the brain bucket over there?
So this is actually genuine. Well, there's 2. Both of them are semi-genuine. One, I am going to attempt, and I've done it so far. I'm just going to telemark once a week. Like, I can't be a complete poser in the telemark world. I was a long-time telemark skier full-time. Everyone knows that. That's the story. Great. But I've been doing it once a week, like committed to it. So that's not necessarily a New Year's resolution, but it's something I'm trying to do. And then the second, I've been doing this for years, is don't hold back.
Okay.
And that like sometimes hurts me and sometimes is okay. But like, you know, when you're like in a work situation, you're like kind of pissed off and you're like, fuck that. I shouldn't do that. But you don't say it. I say it. And I've been doing that for a couple of years. And it's kind of nice. Like, not necessarily work situation, but like I'm done having people make me feel uncomfortable.
Sure.
I don't care. And like I mean that in the most genuine way. I'm not out to be a dickhead completely, but that's my new don't hold back and attempt to telemark ski like it's a world record once a week.
Noah will be proud of you. That's following up Noah's footsteps.
Yes. What about you, CJ?
Oh God. Well, I'm gonna pick one of the most cliche ones in I've got two actually, and I think the second one's kind of coming from you a little bit, but the first one with filming, especially as like I kind of hit the January season and February starts to really kick the filming season, I always find myself just sucking oxygen wherever I go when I'm trying to tour, filming with the backpack, like, you know, fully loaded pack with all the lenses, cameras and stuff. So I have told myself in 2025 that I'm going to try to at least skin up copper to, okay. I may make the claim here 3 times a week, which I know is not a lot for a lot of people, but that's a decent amount for me. I was going to say 2 to 3, which feels like a real quitter attitude right out the gate for a New Year's resolution, but wanting to start skinning more, trying to be a little bit more healthy so I don't feel like such a bag of crap every time I'm touring around and trying to film and everything else. So that's definitely the cliche one I've been going for. I started it on like January 2nd just to skip all those January 1st noobs. And now I'm sick. So the whole working out and being more fit is definitely working well so far.
Hell yeah.
But another thing has actually been to try to find ways to step away from skiing, actually. Weirdly enough, you know, once I started Tele COLO and everything else, everything in my life started to revolve around telemark or skiing or the industry in one way, shape, or form. That could be either doing podcasts or filming, trying to figure out plans for a movie or a project or Kings and Queens or something like that. Or even just my YouTube algorithm now where I'm trying to watch some like dorky whatever show and it's just showing me all of these new segments that are dropping. So I've been trying to find other avenues in my life that kind of fully separates me from skiing, from outdoor sports, from telemark, just to kind of get some balance in my life. So that balance has been revolving around a new game store that's opened up in Silverthorne, Colorado called Hidden Table, which has had all the Pokemon cards, which has completely revived my passion and love for Pokemon. Binders are back out, people. I'm looking at the releases. I'm so stoked. And then both myself and Greg Yearsley have gotten into this very weeby anime girl Magic the Gathering type game called Shadowverse Evolve. And I am so stoked to be building the best deck that's ever going to happen and just taking some time off from skiing and just absolutely destroying other people's decks.
Do you ever wish you just had a time machine so you couldn't hear anything you just heard?
I think that breaks even for hearing that you're just putting petroleum jelly in your hair.
That was private. I don't remember if that was private.
that was fully on air.
That was on pot. Well, that's what I use. My secret's out, guys. That's how you look this good. It's a fountain of youth. Oil lasts forever. So there you go.
You know, you were going to say if I ever wished I had a time machine, and I wanted to mentally stop you there and say, yes, Adam, I do wish I had a time machine so I could have gone back to 1997 with me, or no, it would be like 98 or 99. I'd be in Florida, a block off the beach, just walked out of a 7-Eleven with a crispy Pokemon base pack, booster pack that costs about like $3.99 to $4.99 and just had not opened the package because those things cost like $600 now. Who would have known?
I hate it. But the correlation between you loving telemark and Pokemon makes so much more sense. It answers a lot of questions that I had. And I'm glad we know that. But I do think stepping away from skiing, telemark skiing, it makes you appreciate a little more.
It does, yeah.
And I hate complaining about it. But as this being my third podcast of the day and one more later, like this is a job, and it's part of it. And walking away to actually enjoy it, or maybe enjoy something else to remember why we enjoy this, it's really nice. It's like it's important, and it's not like I hate complaining about it. But you know, most of my days on Hill are spent working on Hill.
Yep.
And you know, most of your days on Hill are probably filming and working and stressing on like how am I going to piece together like a movie for next year.
Yep.
So it's you got to take time for yourself. What a concept.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as much as I think I hate the saying distance makes the heart grow fonder, especially because I think people usually drop that line when you have a new love or something like that, and then they hop on their airplane and they go multiple states away or countries or whatever. It's like, you know, man, distance makes the heart grow fonder. It's going to be okay. You know, it's like, all right, cool. That's a bunch of BS. I wish they were here right now. Like it does. I think it does truly help, you know, seasons where I've tried to tick off, you know, a plus 100 day season or something like that. I found myself as I was keeping count that I was actually enjoying skiing less and less, and found myself going just for the number and not for the sake of wanting to go ski. So since then, you know, like I don't count my days. Don't try to force it to say I should be skiing or anything. And like finding something else in your life that can allow you to take some time off mentally, physically from this thing that we all love, you know, granted, like telemark that we get sucked into, to be able to separate yourself from it and then come back. I think it helps you refresh the reasons that you love it so much and that you put in all this time, that it really does suck your life into it and totally ruins your YouTube algorithm. So no, I'm glad to do it. And I'm stoked there's a game store to help fuel my passion for it.
See, your Pokemon is my scooters. Like I love scooters, and that explains why I don't love telemark, but I enjoy telemark.
I gotta imagine there's some like special rare scooters out there that you're just looking for.
I got a Vespa 250 GTS, dude.
It sounds real fast.
It's pretty sick. It does about 80. It was a flood victim in a hurricane, and I've revived it.
Oh my God.
And I got it. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Does it really go 80 miles an hour?
Oh yeah.
Do you want to go 80 miles an hour on a Vespa?
I want to go 1,000 miles an hour. I want to go as fast as I can all the time. All the time. I want to go as fast as I can everywhere I can. And the best part about like being on a scooter, cops are like, look at that guy. And I'm doing like 90 through the
just ripping on the
like
Vespa
doing
PT.
teeters. Like I lift up the rear and like do a little and then like skirt away. It's the best, dude. See, it's kind of like Pokemon cards, basically.
You're living your best life on the scooter. I'm living my best life just trying to get that hollow Charizard.
I just don't understand how they have value and how people think they have value. But I think that about telemark. So it makes
I was just gonna say
it's like I don't know. They're just printing it on a piece of paper, and you guys are claiming to have it value. I don't know.
Telemark Gear Exchange forums are very much like tcgplayer.com or something, trying to find like an old set of comps now that we know the comps are gone or the previous comps are gone. Value's going through the roof.
I'm going to scoop them all up and then put them in a landfill where they belong. That's what I would do if I was rich. I would buy all of the telemark gear. Everyone buying, I would buy it, or everyone selling, I'd buy it. And then I would just never let anyone use it. So they'd have to buy new.
So everybody, please support the podcast so we can support Adam X's dreams to continuously downfall all of telemark.
Or maybe help your sport and help it evolve and like help manufacturers make new products instead of supporting old ones.
Nah, we're past that. We're over it. It's 2025. Time to retroactively go back to it.
I don't. And there's actually a good voicemail that will touch on this talk a little bit. And again, everyone, not everyone, but I got a couple DMs. They're like, not everyone can afford it. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I get it. I do. And I'm a curmudgeon, and that's my character. Great. But there is a safety aspect to it. Actually, I'm going to play this voicemail. Let's just get right to this voicemail because it kind of makes sense.
Love voicemails.
It's a 2-part voicemail. We're going to cut in on the part 2 because I can't find the voicemail. I don't know where they went. Because if you leave me 2 6-minute voicemails, that's a lot, guys. I'm not going to edit it. I'm not going to screen it because, like, you guys have clearly figured out this show at this point. Like, it's not happening. But let me run this up here. I think it's this one. Yep. This is it. Here we go. Let me know if you can't hear this, but we should be good. Playing maybe now.
Hey, I don't know if my previous voicemail went through, so I'm just gonna jump straight to the conclusion. I love spreading the Tele gospel, and I love that you can just find all this used gear for cheap on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist and get out and go tele skiing. It's awesome. But on the other hand, some of that gear is just really old, and it just like might not be safe to still be skiing something like a G3 Targa in the year of our Lord 2024-25. And point number 2 is just underlining the importance of like mentorship and community. You know, if I had known someone with experience who could have told me about what to look for when I was buying used stuff, or, you know, what kind of bindings to pair with what kind of skis or whatever, I might not have made some of the mistakes that I made, and I might have had a safer and just better learning experience. I mean, I was hooked from the get-go anyway, but I easily could not have been when my bindings ripped out of my skis. That could have been a deal breaker for me. And I want more people to try Tele. I don't want them to get scared off by, you know, 30-year-old gear. So anyway, yeah, big shout out to all the new folks in the Tele world, creating communities, helping people, hyping up gear, and also thrashing it and selling it used on Facebook Marketplace so that cheap people like me can afford your secondhand TX Pros. Thanks so much. Bye.
So I think we get the gist of that.
Yeah.
I like, it's a better take than my just like throw everything out and consume. But there is a safety aspect of like the G3 Targas are like old, and they're metal that has, and plastic that has been stretched, and like, and then there's people in the forums that are like blown away that they broke, or like that they're like that it ripped out, or like it's like that could really hurt you.
Yeah. No, it's actually a really great take, and something I agree with you that I've never really pitched it that way or even really thought about it that way. And the fact that, you know, you have this kind of glittery oasis in your thrift stores or Play It Again Sports or whatever, where you walk in, you're potentially interested in telemark, you see the old boots, that's all well and good, but then you see these older bindings where God knows what they've been through, how old they are, how they've been treated, if the parts are even working functionally, because I know the thrift stores aren't really necessarily checking that. And that could be either one, a great way to just absolutely wreck yourself if there is some issues with it, or two, a great way to just not enjoy it because perhaps there is something better, or someone could talk to you about, you know, the type of equipment that would fit your style or your ability level on skis, or are you coming from snowboarding? You know, I think all of those aspects go into it. Yeah, look at those. All those are pretty sweet. But still, like maybe not going to tell somebody that they love Telemark if they try those, right? Because it's very different than what Telemark is now. Eventually that gear is going away too. So yeah, really, really cool take coming from that person who I feel like I know who that is, but I can't come up with the name. So I'll keep it to myself. But cool take on it. Like there is a safety factor, and, you know, I don't work at a shop, but you do, Adam. You know, my understanding is at some point for like alpine bindings, they'll age out where you're not going to mount those on skis anymore. Is that right?
Yeah, they become indemnified. So like we legally, like at a ski shop, when we mount your skis, an alpine ski, we are signing a piece of paper that we are held liable, that they will release when they're supposed to, and they're set to your height, weight, age, and skier type, and there's a forward pressure. And we sign a waiver. So like if you went skiing and you blew your ACL and the ski didn't come off and you thought it should, don't do this. But technically you could go all the way back to the ski shop that mounted it, and they have paperwork that says, here's what we set it at. And then, you know, then if there was an investigation, if you cranked your DINs up to a 13 and we set them to 6, we have paperwork that shows that. So yeah, like all Rosignol bindings, any binding that says Rosignol on it next year will be indemnified. We cannot work on them. We cannot fix them for you. We can't do anything. You can ski them at your own risk.
Sure.
But there is a standard that says, like, these are yours now. We can no longer service this item. And, I'd love to see it from a telemark standpoint. And
yeah,
that doesn't mean get rid of that stuff. Like, there are Rossi bindings that I'm going to ski in March that are on my mogul skis, and I'm going to cut them loose. And I know I'm taking that risk.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be the G3 people. They know they're old. They know but like, comes a point where, like, I can only service a 22 Designs binding so many times. And it's hard to get the consumer to understand that, because they think we just want to sell it. I'm like, I don't make any more money if I sell you a binding. But, like, a lot of times I'll tell, like, sorry, this is a ramble, but, like, kids gear will come in and the parents will be like, no, this is fine. I'm like, these kids, this is their ACL. They're 5 years old. Like, those springs are rusted. They're old. They're not going to release when you want them to.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know if we could do it. I mean, most 22 Design stuff is pretty serviceable. But I don't know. I think, and I like how this dude put it, like, it's more of an educational piece. Like, and I think the communities are growing, and I think the conversations are growing, and anyone who's thinking about it can DM CJ. Don't DM me. I'm going to tell you to just buy new.
Tell you to buy Alpine.
We guide people, right? Like that, like, hey, that's not good. Like, oh, there's a set of hammerheads on there. That'll get you going. Like, it's old, but, like, it'll get you if you think you want to do it. Right.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And is it this is turning me into interviewing you, just trying to understand kind of the shop stuff, but I do think this is really interesting. Is it the Alpine binding companies that are setting kind of that cutoff date, or is that something, where's that cutoff coming from?
So there is like, the Alpine ski world has a standard. It's called, like, a DIN standard. So, like, the boots have to be from every manufacturer. The boots have to be the exact same height in the toe and height in the heel, so that the bindings work across the board. There's, like, a governing body. I don't know what it is.
Sure.
But they, like, there's a whole group that does that, and that's what they do. And I think, to bring it to telemark, there is no standard for that. And that's why we're seeing Scarpa new boot not work perfectly with with bindings.
Right.
The links, you got to get a little plate. Does it work? Yeah, but you change the plate and it works better. It doesn't rub. It doesn't. I think that's why Alpine did that. And one, they have way more manufacturers. It's a whole thing because they're actually liable for the release, and they have a standardized system. But, like, Scarpa needs to set the standard, or Crispy needs to set this. And then everyone who makes a boot from now on, it's that wide in the toe, and the duck butt is that wide. And the heel, if that's a certain thickness, like for anything like a Bishop, like, if you change the thickness of that heel, the Bishop binding doesn't work on that boot. Right. So there is a I don't know what it is. It's like ISO standard something. And now there's Grip Walk on Alpine, which is like, so now there's two separate ones, and most current bindings work with Grip Walk or standard DIN ISO. But there is, like, a governing body, and they, like, release a thing every year and send it to shops and be like, any binding made prior to 1994, I don't know the date, but, like, they send it to us. You have to be binding certified to work on bindings at ski shops. There's, like, a system in place.
Gotcha. Yeah. And that brings up, the other thing too, in that there is such a finicky system as it exists in the telemark world, right? You change a little bit on that duck butt length or its stack height or something like that, it's totally going to change how a 22 Designs claw is going to engage on it. If you change kind of that front, I don't know what you want to call it now, but the lip on the front of the boot that used to be the duck bill, on the NTN, it's shortened, obviously. Change that thickness, that's going to add some play into any of the toe cage bindings, which could play around with both the 22 binding and a Bishop binding. And I even remember too, when I started TC, out camping with Dave Bombard, who's the owner of Bishop Telemark, and he had mentioned kind of the desire and need of like, one big thing that I'm speaking for him. One big thing that I would love to see is a standardized system for the boots and for all this equipment, so we're not running into these issues that we have a new Scarpa Pro TX or TX Pro coming out or is out now, and we're getting a little bit of shaving issues with the Bishop or a little bit of play with a 22 or something like that. You want it to be something that's produced following those standard specifications, and we know it's going to work with our couple-year-old BMF 3s or Outlaws or what have you. And it's kind of wild to me that it's still, I mean, as much as the wild, wild west telemark seems to be, it's wild that with, gear production and specifications that isn't there yet. I mean, I think we both know too, like when they first started with the Scarpa, the new boot, it wasn't originally going to work with any toe cage bindings, which is absolutely insane to me because that wipes out all of the big manufacturers, which I consider to be the top manufacturers of bindings in the US that you see most people using on a day-to-day basis. And for that to be the initial thought that it wouldn't include any of that is wild to me.
Yeah, it's I hate to say this, but it just like almost shows how out of touch Scarpa is with the telemark community. And it sucks because they're our ticket right now. Like they're investing. They've got, the number one boot probably being sold in the world. Crispy's got boots. We're going to talk about that on this episode. But it just like, I don't know. I don't know if it's a lack of funds. I can't speak for Scarpa, but like thinking that that's a step in the right direction just seems so disconnected to me.
Yeah, it's a lot of circular catch up, which makes everything very inefficient, right? If you're out having to redesign for something that's new, that's design energy, funds, money, marketing, email, news blasts, and everything that could be going towards making a step up instead of a step down to get back to where we were, at the point before that boot came out, which is pretty interesting.
We have a surprise guest.
Oh,
Jabber,
snap. Oh my God.
I just popped in here, saw it was recording, and I was like, let's see what we're talking about in Tele world right now.
You're live.
Do you want to take a single guess as to what we're ranting about right now?
I don't know, Tele being shit and the bindings being bad and dumb and everybody turning weird. Is that what's going on?
It was getting there. You're a little premature on it, but we can get there later in the podcast.
We're trying to be positive in 2025.
Oh, dude, I gave up on that in like 2014. Being positive is so 2014. It's crazy.
As long as you're holding on to your New Year's goals from 2014, that's commitment at its finest.
Yeah, my goal was to lose weight, and I think somewhere between 2014 and 2025, I've lost weight at some point. So
I have not. I've done the opposite.
It's gone up and down, but as long as you lose it at some point in that time frame, it counts.
I'll take that. Positive attitude. Positive years.
What's new in Tele for 2025? I'm doing a leak right now for double boa stuff. So tell me what is being leaked for what's getting leaked in Tele? Do we have boa on Tele yet?
Dude, no chance. We have a brand new telemark boot, and it's just the same boot we got this year, but it's white and black instead of red and black.
Cool.
I
feel like that's pretty indicative of like what telemark does, though, for like from the outsider's perspective. It seems like you guys get a new product every 27 years or so. So like when you get the new product, the next thing that makes sense is new colors for that product, right?
Yeah, well, it's stiffer, allegedly.
Okay, cool.
Bellows
what do you need stiffness for in a Tele boot? Like, is there flex numbers on Tele boots?
No.
Okay, so there's no flex.
It's purely based on Facebook forum ranting.
Okay.
Old Joe saying this is stiffer than this, and then that's our new system that lasts for about a month. That post is going to go away. Then we're going to get a new post that compares it, and then we follow that system for a little bit.
Does the boot get stiffer in real life as more people comment on it? That would be fun, right? Like, can we integrate that technology? Like, the more people talk about it, the more stiff it gets.
The stiffer the bellow, which is where it bends, that's like where you get your power from. That's your delivery to the ski. And like old school people like it very soft. New school likes it very stiff. You're gonna find out when you go telemark skiing soon.
Oh,
Sick. 2
It
weeks.
is. You are gonna be a giraffe learning to walk because it is.
So
You know, is thrown out the window. But the big thing is there's an options. Like Scarpa only has one boot. Next year they will have 2 boots in different stiffnesses, and it's just softer and stiffer. That's the stiffness chart.
who are the big players right now? Like, who's the big Tele people? Okay, we got like Bishop, Scarpa's got 2 boots, 22 designs.
we're waiting for you to finish this list. You're doing good.
Ziploc bags, is that a product that is exclusive to Telemark? I don't know. Like,
I mean, that's it. It's the 5 biggest brands in telemark are Scarpa, Bishop, 22 Designs, Tele, COLO, and the Pretty Good Telemark Show.
Also a production brand.
Does Bolay make stuff still?
Bolay.
Bolay is, yeah. And they've been pushing a different type of binding. We have In Wild, which used to be the M equipment that's making the Mejo, which exists out across the seas.
So hang on, Jabro, like this take. Guess how many holes it takes to mount an M equipment binding.
So it's like 8 on a regular binding per ski. I don't know, 12.
14, including the heel per ski.
14. You know how
14.
many it takes to mount a shred shocks, dude? It's not that many. I'll tell you that. Although the holes are like the size of my fist. Like when I plugged the holes when I took one off, it's literally multiple ski plugs cut in half and stacked in the holes so that I can fill that gap and then epoxy down. It's like a work of art. X is gonna have a stroke when he sees it.
I cannot wait. I mean, I'm
gonna
pretty
put a Tele binding on it.
Anyway.
I've been actively trying to figure out how we could incorporate the shred shocks tech into a Tele binding.
Oh, we're gonna innovate Tele.
Yeah,
that's happening,
dude. It's happening in 2 weeks.
Leak. It's happening.
Yeah, that's happening. It's gonna be the most innovation Tele has ever seen. We're gonna put a product that no one asked for in alpine skiing. Give it to a bunch of telemark skiers as a brand new product, right? Like maybe they haven't seen the videos of it so far. Maybe they'll just be like, this is a new telemark product coming out in 2020. That's my hope.
It's going to be interesting, and I cannot wait for it.
You know what bums me out is it probably comes out in the telemark world, and that is the biggest hype beast ever to happen.
Yeah.
Everyone's stoked. They can see the potential for how this is going to totally change the turn of telemark. For the people that are willing to let it change, this might be the big product right here, actually.
Yeah, that's all I came on here for. I just came on here to leak the biggest project that Telemark has for 2025 and beyond. It's really big news, so I hope everybody's happy with that info.
Heard it here first, folks.
God bless. I'll see you tomorrow.
Right, God bless.
Later.
Wow, Adam Jabber, special appearance there.
Oh my God, I love that. You know what he didn't? He did not mention Crispy though.
He did not. Well. Should we talk about Crispy? Why is he still here? Get out of here. He's lurking in the underground.
Just in the shadows.
Oh my God. Do you want to talk about Crispy?
Yeah.
I think we have to.
Yeah, let's do it.
What is Crispy doing? Is my question.
They are making boots is about all I know, to be honest. So you mentioned that we were going to talk about Crispy, and my first response was, I have never set my foot in a Crispy boot. And quite honestly, here in Colorado, I never see a Crispy boot on a rack, on a shelf, even at thrift stores, weirdly enough. They don't even make it into that sort of telemark retail, which is the thrift store shelf in the back corner next to like all the dead VHSs or whatever. But they still exist and they still make boots. Funny enough, you can't tell that if you go to the US Crispy site.
Yeah, it doesn't exist on the US site.
No.
It exists on our site or the IT site, which is presumably Italy.
I'm going to steal your screen here just so people can see this for those watching on YouTube. So here you go, folks. If you're on Crispy us.com, which is going to be their US site, obviously, and you're trying to find those new crispy telemark boots, your search is going to return no results, which is wild to me. And I think it speaks a lot to the fact that here in the US, I don't see a lot of Crispy product or know a lot about it.
Yeah, I know people like the people that have them love them. They're like Like maybe that's the answer for everyone who wants a really stiff boot. That might be it. But my thing is like, then you're not, at least Scarpa is supporting the North American market. Love them or hate them. But I think the more money we spend with Scarpa, ideally, the more products we can get, the more product development we can get, the more support we can get. And that's how my, jaded ski brain works. But it is interesting. Like they kind of do it. They're kind of in. They don't really do it. I mean, Scott makes a boot. I'm sure I can find that. I think that's still listed on their website. Let me do a little search here while you chat for a minute. But
I feel like every year I'm told that they're discontinuing new production on the Scott boots, which of course is coming from the old Garmont molds.
Yeah, but people love that boot, right? Like that's.
Well, people love the Garmonts, but I know people had a lot of issues with the Scotts in terms of quality of the construction of the boot, issues with the buckles, them being pretty wiry and weak. Think just general quality control. No one I talked to really seemed to dig them, which was always really interesting. Oh,
surprise special guest.
Jesus. Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
Oh, I can't help but think that Adam leaked this login for this dude to get on here. What's up, Telecraw?
It's great to be here, guys. Thanks so much for having me on. Been waiting for a while. Really thankful to be here. Some great.
Are you live from space right now? I can hear what you're saying.
I can see his mustache moving, but I see no audio coming out of that face hole of his.
I think we lost him. We lost. He's out. He's booted.
We had 20 seconds of Telecraw with just horrific service.
We'll kick the guest.
Oh my God.
I shared it. I wanted him to pop on and surprise you as a special guest. He has no service.
Crawford, get some better service over there and we'll chat with you.
Oh my God. But no, it's weird that these guys continue to make a boot, but don't really promote it, don't care about it. And it seems like right now would be the time. Like if Scott just came out of nowhere and started supporting athletes and was like, ski our boot, I think they would, right?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, to have that option, I think would be nice, especially as people go through the new Scarpas that are coming out and they're uncertain if they like it and they're a little, TO'd about it or what have you. This is a question for you since you are out east. I understand that the Fay brothers actually run the distribution for Crispy in the US. Are you seeing more Crispies out your way or are you rarely seeing those on the mountain?
It is. I mean, we sell a lot of Scarpa boots where we are. So that's my turf, right? Like, but I see, it's probably like for every one Crispy I see 75 Scarpas. Like it's that low. It's that much different. But like on their turf, like they're 5-6 hours from me. Like that could be a totally different number. I do know the people that have them like them. They're stiff, they're mean, they're angry. They've got tech toes, which people really dig. For a stiff boot, if you want like a tech toe with a stiff
they have
boot.
the tech heel insert too as well, I believe.
I
don't know if it's what you call that.
That's for cowards.
People ask for it. Just saying. That's a difference there that I know Scarpa is not going to dive into.
Yeah, they used to. The old TX comp came with the 4-buckle TX comp. The orange and black came with a tech heel. The inserts are still there. You can take a Dremel and do it and take an old boot and put it in if you really want to.
Sure.
I'll never understand that from a jaded standpoint. Like if you want to Alpine, if you want Telemark, like people are like, well, if I go out west, I'm like, well, then like, what do you mean? This is the tool you chose to use. Like, you can't like, I don't know. You can't pick a fork and then just all of a sudden you need a spoon. Like there's a reason forks aren't in every household. Like it just doesn't, I don't know. I'm jaded on that. And like whatever gets you down and you're having a good time, that's great. But I don't know. We have a monstrosity at the shop right now. I think I sent it to you. It's like a old G3 heel and a Raffle toe technically, and like it's just a mutt. And like now you have a bad alpine ski and a bad telemark ski. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it's a strange way to go. It almost makes me feel like the people that are running, we're just really digging all of a sudden. Running like the most lightweight AT like pin setup, but skiing resort fully on that. Like, why would you want such a light, bumbly setup when you're in that sort of terrain or what have you? But I don't know. I've never. I don't know. I don't know what to do there. Crispy. It'd be cool to see if Crispy kind of reacted to what's happening with Scarpa. You know, Scarpa had a great sales year with the TX Pro release. My understanding, better than any of their other boots, and that includes AT, Alpine, yada, yada, yada. You know, does Crispy see that and think, oh, snap, there's a US market here. And if we kind of start to modify things, maybe people are looking for something different from what they're seeing from Scarpa. You know, are they going to come back out? Right? Like, will we see Crispy? I think it'd be sick. I did a showing in Squamish at Valhalla Pure Outfitters. They had Scott boots there, they had Scarpa boots there, and they had Crispy boots there. And it almost made it look like Telemark had an industry. If you were to walk in and you didn't know what Telemark was and you saw that, you would feel like there was a plethora of items. And it was really cool to see because now there's 3 different brands, a bunch of different styles with those brands that you can try on. So Squamish has got it rolling, but the US just seems to not get the Crispy love.
Yeah, and you know, to be fair, if dealers want to make money, so if they can make money off of selling 3 different types of boots, they will. And you know, so much of it is support. Like we have a Scarpa rep. Well, we have an issue with Scarpa boots, or we have an issue with, you know, we want to reorder. Like we have a contact, and it doesn't seem like Crispy has that. I mean, I could call Fay Brothers and they would ship us a boot probably, but like they're selling at retail. That's what they're doing, right? Like so that's not a way to make business. And we'll connect the gap if we have to. I mean, we called Surge to get a Scarpa boot for a loyal customer at Rise of Tele because he was holding out on 75s, you know, and then he was waiting when Scarpa puts out a new boot, I'll get it. Like that was his thing. And then it came out and it was sold out. It's gone. And Surge got us a boot. And like, we didn't make like our margins on that, but we got a customer into a boot. Surge made some money. He gave us a little break. We made $1. Like, and that's cool. Like that's a cool thing. But to do that every weekend with Crispy or Scott just doesn't seem realistic.
Yeah, I suppose so. That makes sense from a retail economy. But it would be cool to see, and it would be nice if Scarpa had competition. It felt, because I think competition does generally bring in better equipment, better ideas, better advancements from model to model, which is something I feel like Scarpa doesn't truly have. But if you're a Crispy rider, if you're a diehard Crispy rider, had your experiences, I would love to hear what you think about it. You know, I have like 2 people in my friend group, I think, that actually ride Crispies, and they tend to like them. They do say they're a lot stiffer, and I know a lot of people are complaining that the Scarpas aren't stiff enough. So who knows? But if you're riding those, have history with them, you're seeing them everywhere and have no idea what we're talking about, and the fact that we never see Crispies anywhere. 716-599-0917. Give us that info on the Crispies, since both Adam and I have no idea about what's going on with Crispies.
No, I would love to know the skinny. And like, I don't know. I think I've said it before. It's like we're beating a dead horse here, but it is Telemark. There's a pulse for the first time in a long time. Powder Magazine, you know, Powder's doing articles. Ski is posting memes. Out of Collective is posting memes, and like memes drive conversation. You know, like I don't think 5 years ago someone Telemark skiing would have got 400,000 views, right? Like, I don't know. And maybe but like the algorithm's pushing it. Like people are intrigued. And if I'm one of those brands and I'm seeing what other company is doing, like I would be capitalizing on that.
Yep. I think that's what's happening with bindings, you know, like I think a big thing with the Bandit from the Outlaws was them was seeing how well the brake performs for step in on the Bishop BMF 3s, BMF Rs, and wanting to react to that, right? So they created a retractable brake binding. That's the sort of thing.
Sick, because now we have a choice. That's all we're going for. We're not trying to bury Bishop. We're not trying to bury 22 Designs. We're not trying to bury M Equipment or Majo or Wildlife Equipment, whatever they're calling that thing now. Like, great. But like options are cool. And I don't know. It's cool to be like, hey, I want to take out my rig today. And like, that's my Bishop. And I tour on my rig and I go and I have a great downhill experience. And then there's some days where I'm like, I'm just going to stack miles. I'm going to run my TTS from Volet. And like, I do that on that. And that's what the whole point of like options and choice. And like, it's the same thing with cars. Like, we're not putting V8s and Priuses. Like, I wouldn't put a Bishop BMFR on, a Fisher Transalp 92. It doesn't match. It's a lightweight ski with a heavy binding. It's going to overpower it. But like, there's days I want to ski my Ranger 108 BMFR. Boom. Like, that's what it's for.
Yep.
I don't know. What a concept.
I noticed that you put on, I feel like I kind of like this episode because we're just bouncing around all these different things. Obviously, we had to talk about boots. We did it. We've gotten past the boot part, but you kind of snuck a little photo of a really weird looking binding.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about this thing. And
can we leak?
Yeah, this is the 11-year-old retroactive leak, but with a new understanding. So let's pull this up.
Whoa.
So, Adam, tell me what you know about this binding.
I know. I don't know why I have like a weird screen grab over there, but whatever. That's fine. I know how to count all the way. So I know this is from ATK. It is their new mark, which would not to be confused with, I guess, 75 mil or NTN. Is this like, are they replacing? Like, is this another one? So will it be 75 mil, NTN, and new mark?
An NTN.
Is this an NTN binding?
This would be okay. So what we're looking at is the ATK new mark. And this is a prototype that was out in like 2013 or something like that. So this isn't a new photo of a binding or anything, but this was a concept from ATK to utilize what I believe would be an NTN boot that obviously has the tech inserts at the tip of the boot, to make about the most lightweight telemark binding you could come up with. And the way it operates is it has the 2 pins that connect at those tech inserts, but then there's 2 essentially sleeves that are going to sit on top of the ridge where, I don't know the lingo, whatever that ridge is that's in the front of the boot, like for the duck bill, for the 75 mil, it was the big duck bill, and then it would eventually extend into the back of the boot. But it's essentially, there you go, going to lap on it. And that's what's holding your entire boot down when you're trying to activate this binding, which is wild. 2 thoughts. One, it's cool to see a new idea. This for sure would be mega light. This seems like the Telemark version of, those AT bindings that you see for some reason in the resort that just look like it's 2 pieces of metal pins and then that's it. There's nothing else aside from your skis. 2, that has got to be an insane type of material that's going to hold down that boot to resist all those stresses. 3, I said 2, but now we're going to be in like 3 or 4 thoughts here. This has got to be a very neutral feel, right? Unless this is holding down all the way to the back of the boot behind those bellows. Because a lot of the times when we're looking at, for example, with an Outlaw, or not an Outlaw, but with the Lynx or a Hammerhead, the way you make it more neutral or feel looser is by essentially moving that pivot point forward on your boot, so more in front of you. This thing's about as forward as it gets right here. But it's such a strange concept, and it feels like it's going to chew out the boot. Granted, this was an idea in 2013 and we haven't seen it on shelves, but there has been a whisper that there's been new photos of these popping out, or potentially a comeback from the dead, prototyping dead of this binding. So I think it's fun to kind of talk about what this is. And I don't know, is there a space for this? Does this seem absolutely insane to you? What you got, Adam?
I love it. No, I think there's a space for it. I think it's one of those things, like, again, as we evolve, boots evolve, bindings evolve. This could be like the 3-pin version of NTN, right? And like, ideally down the line, like we'll always have cross country skis. So like, but that's a wimpy version, right?
Yeah.
So maybe this is a lightweight, wimpy version of an NTN, but it's one boot solution for a lot of people. And now we have a new TX Pro that is very light with a very great range of motion. So I think it's fun. Like you put these on a pair of like Volley, like I don't know if they make an Endeavor and a BC, but like something 80 to 90 underfoot with scales, and I can go and like run around and do weird zones. Or if you're out west and the Abbey danger's high and you're not driving that Pow Hound, right? Like you're not driving that ski, you're putting it on something a little wimpier, and it all matches. So, I mean, obviously it needs some innovation, I would think. This seems like once your boot wears out, you're done, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no solution after that. But I don't know. I think it's great. And I think it's just like, if we can continue to make products and innovate, we can get more stuff. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's cool, bad, stupid? Like, am I missing something? This seems great.
I would love to try a set of these because I quite honestly have no idea how this is going to perform. And again, that comes down to where that contact point is, where you'd want to pretend that's kind of the pivot point, but the pivot where your boot's really coming from that bellow, and then whatever leverage, the toe connection is going to allow you. If you have a toe cage, you're allowed to dip underneath that toe cage, or it pivots under, so you do get that lift in front of the bellows. But with this thing, I mean, I understand that there's a screw inset to the front that essentially allows you to adjust these wings that are going to latch to your boot, which could maybe accommodate, some wear and tear on the boot or some play or what have you. But I mean, God, how strong is this thing going to be able to drive your ski or move it, or how's it going to feel? Is it going to feel like you're just skiing, a pin binding in tour mode, or I don't know. But one thing I do like about this is that this looks so entirely different than a lot of the DIY mods you see online or in the forums, which tend to be, at least in my experience, some version of a TTS system, right? They're going to do, some sort of tech toe in the front and then some sort of heel catch in the back or something like that, where it's maybe different materials, a different arrangement, maybe a different way to adjust it. But all in all, it's more or less the same binding. Granted, that still makes better bindings by upgrading on a concept, right? But this thing is so entirely different, and so unique. I mean, I would love to see it come out into the mainstream and be able to at least try it. I mean, like you said, this could be that fish scaled, loose booting, 3-pin NTN fun, just like go out. You're not skiing dynamically, you're not skiing hard, but you are getting out in the woods and you're getting out in the snow and you're taking a hike, and it could be really cool. So I don't know. I would love to see this thing come out. I think it'd be so cool to see how different people react to it and what that would drive for telemark binding innovation in the future if this thing did really start to work.
Yeah, and I don't know, you're a filmer. Like, think of how many days you go out into the backcountry and you don't ski any of the lines that you filmed.
Yeah.
Like, this gets you in and gets you out safely.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just think any innovation is great. All the weird stuff on the forums, I just call everything the forums, right? Anything on the internet is a telemark forum. Someone took like a weird 3-pin, basically cross-country boot and made it NTN. But like, maybe that's really interesting to me. And maybe like the binding doesn't match, but maybe he's creating a binding that matches, something like that. And then, what's like the Raffle, like just tech toe thing that's kind of like a telemark binding and you can make telemark turns on it.
Oh, what is it? It's like the Explorer or the Journey or something like that. Right?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
But like, that's an excellent tool for some people. And like, people DM me about that thing and they're like, dude, it's awesome. Like, and that's their low angle POW solution on like, there's days we can't go out in the backcountry. So we use that. And it makes, I think it goes back to like the creation of telemark, well, not creation, but why people maybe do it now, especially on the East Coast. It makes these molehills a mountain. So like, now you're even dumbing it down even more, but you're still on modern equipment. Like, people are just like, use leather. And you're like, well, I don't want to take old leather boots into the backcountry. Like, I want something that I know will work. So like an Explorer is really neat setup. And like there's different options, there's different boots. You can change your toe piece so it's stiffer or softer. I think it's just getting more innovation, more people into the backcountry, and just seeing more product is always exciting for me.
Yeah, ATK, if you're listening, send us whatever pairs you have. I am just so fascinated by this thing. But like I said, I mean, those wings have to go through so much stress.
And this is
I
10
wonder
years
how they
old.
designed that. Yeah.
Right? Like it could have changed. Ideally, it would change drastically. I mean, I know Telemark.
We are talking about Telemark.
Years behind, but like it should change.
Yeah.
Drastically. So hopefully, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. You know what this is a good time for while I pull up a nice voicemail here?
I think I know.
You know what it is, dude. I don't know if I can pull it up or you can pull it up.
I can do it.
I'm trying. I'm really trying hard, dude. I'm really it's not working. There it is.
Pretty Good Telemark Show.
I'm just kidding. That was not it. That was not what we were going for. Oh boy. I think I got it.
I got it. I beat you.
Dang.
Boom. Is that what you're talking about? I knew that's
exactly
what you were
what I was talking about.
We're getting into the part where we give a huge thanks to Bishop Telemark for, again, being the sponsor of the Pretty Good Telemark Show. Bishop Telemark out of Edwards, Colorado, which is making some of the best Telemark bindings and the best Telemark skis in the game. Adam, what kind of product do we want to talk about today? We've got bindings, we've got skis.
I've been skiing the BMFR on the Chetty combo, and it's kind of fun, dude. Like I was a little nervous because, 100 underfoot, I'm an East Coast guy. We've actually gotten some snow, so I've gotten to beat it up a little bit, use it on some fresh snow, and obviously, like, it's heavier. The cat is out of the bag, guys. It's a little heavier than what we're used to. I'm loving it for training. One, it gets me stronger. My calves are looking real good right now. But there's no loss in downhill performance. So I think that's like the biggest thing. And you said it best. It's the enduro bike of bindings.
Yep.
It's a little heavier on the up, but there's absolutely zero sacrifice on the down. So situational binding for me, obviously, if I'm going out on like a giant schlog, maybe it's not my go-to choice, but I'm finding myself using it more and more because it's just like if the snow quality is bad, I'm not on a wimpy binding, which I think is so important, especially in telemark, going through like East Coast chop and shit and hot pow. I have to run a lot. So it's been really fun. So that's kind of been my ski of choice and binding of choice. And it's just like, someone called me out last week. It was like, you have the lightest telemark boot ever created and then possibly the heaviest touring. But I don't think we need to hide from that. I don't think Bishop hides from that. Like it's Bishop bomber bindings, and that's what you're getting. And they're bomb-proof bindings, and they have a lifetime warranty guarantee. They will fix it. They will replace it. Like that is what Bishop stands for. And I'm just digging, like playing around on them right now.
Yeah. And you get the beast with this binding, it allows you to just really beat through and be a lot more dynamic, a lot more active with your skiing. I think one cool thing to mention, and this is my experience, is that the Bishop line, so the BMF 3s, the BMF Rs, from previous seasons have worked actually really well for me with the new TX Pro. I know there's been some issues with kind of adaptability between the new boot and then older sets of bindings. There is some wear that happens to the sides with the new TX Pro being a little bit wider at that toe cage. But for me, I've had no issues with it, no hesitation to run. If you're finding that older set of Bishops or getting that newer set, they're going to work great with those new Scarpa TX Pros, which is awesome because we don't want to be sitting with new gear that doesn't work with old gear or old gear that doesn't work with new gear. So it's great that this binding is still adaptable to the newer wave of what Scarpa is doing. The image you're seeing here is on the Chettys as well. This is Dave Bombard's kind of all mountain touring ski. It's 100 underfoot, a little bit mellower camber, but I would say fairly traditional with some early rise in the front, just enough to keep you lifted up, but then still pretty playful with that camber. A little bit of a longer side cut, so it's going to make some longer, smoother turns. But yeah, great ski setup, great binding setup. It's working with the new boots from my experience. Make sure you give them a hit them up. Check out their Bishop Chetties, Gonzos, Powder Hounds, BMF3s, BMFRs. Absolutely awesome product coming from Bishop Telemark.
Yeah, and support brands that support us. I mean, we put a lot of time into this, even though it might not seem like it. But they were very stoked to hop on board and help support us and me and CJ with the movies, everything that comes into play. You know, when you're thinking about buying a new equipment, you know, what will make Telemark better? They're investing in the sport, they're investing in the community, and I think that's very important. My ramble here. I have one more side note. I will have a full review on the Chetty coming out soon. I will have a written version as well as a video version. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them with my honest opinions. You guys know I'm a belligerent. You know, I'm not going to fill in the blank, but I will be honest with you and I'll tell you what I think of them and why I like them and the things I don't like about them. Because I think that's important for growth.
All righty. Thank you, Bishop. You got that voicemail loaded up?
I think so.
All right, let's hear it.
I don't know. I always think I do, and then I don't have it. Again, this was a two-parter. So we're just going to start the second part because we really get to the meat in the second part of everybody's conversation. The beginning is like, yo, what's up, Adam and CJ? This is whoever, Tele blank. It's always a Tele blank. Like, God forbid the guy's name's actually Mark, because then it's like, this is Tele Mark, this is Tele Craw, this is Tele CJ, this is Tele Adam, this is Tele Mike, Tele Bob. We get it, guys. We get it. But yeah, if you're gonna send a voicemail, try to keep it under 3 minutes. But I'm gonna play it now. Here we go. Part 2. So we're gonna jump in. Oh no, I missed it.
Well, that was too long-winded. We'll see if Adam can stitch these things together with his techno wizardry. But yeah, I think it's been pretty welcome on the East Coast, but I think most of the teleskiers I see is my buddy Jeremy, who runs the club with me, or people older than my dad. And sometimes that's not as fun of a vibe. So my question is, with normal average people like me, who are not great at making content or good enough to watch in films, what do you two think the most important thing is that we can do to kind of like take the fun new vibe of Telemark, put it on our back, and like carry it to higher places wherever we may be? Because as much as your content is amazing, we're all not great skiers and don't have great camera gear. And honestly, it's a selfish question because I run a Telemark club. I don't know what I'm doing. You got the demo fleet, cool, but then I post that. I'll run a couple events. I'm always looking for something to add to help out. So what do you guys think the biggest thing that we can do as average Telemark fun snow sliders are around? Last but not least, relationship advice. My best hack was that I went to the only club in Lake Placid and I was wearing, I was very sober. I was wearing Greg's bro model t-shirt, the like ski fast tech hats. And that is the shirt I met my lovely girlfriend in. So buy Greg's shirt. He's the best person ever, probably. Wear that around and you'll pick up all the ladies. All right, that's it. Sorry that was long. Nate, Noco Knee Droppers, give us a follow. DJ, I don't think you follow us. Instagram, Noco Knee Droppers. Thank you.
I even let him get the shout out at the end. That's Nate from Noco Knee Droppers. He runs a really cool telemark club out of the Adirondack region.
Yep.
I think when in the first email, he says it's Adam's least favorite club, but he's going to try to keep it that way. So Nate, you're doing a great job with that. You have no worries. I still hate that club. But follow at Noco Knee Droppers. But I really like the question and just CJ to fill you in on the first part. He was kind of just like, we're all enthusiastic about it. We love this thing. I have a voice in the industry with the podcast, and now you have this podcast as well. And then you obviously have created Tele COLO, which has shirts and a full ski film, release premiere tour. How does a normie help spread stoke? How does a normie, build the community? Because maybe, not maybe, Nate said it himself, like he's not great with a camera. He's not great at Instagram reels. He's not great at tricking the algorithm or, So I don't know if I made that more long-winded, but what is your take on that?
No, it makes sense, and I hate to do this, but I actually want you to answer your opinions on this first, because with TC, I'm constantly trying to answer this question with my power and also answer it in a way that other people can be a part of it that don't necessarily have film skills or access to bigger mountains and everything else. So I want you to answer first before I kind of go on my rant with this, because I am very curious of kind of what your thought is.
First off, F off for that.
That's my one out of this season's podcast. I hate doing it, but I wanted to do it.
I always say, and like I'm me, and most people know my character, like Mr. Adam X. Like I'm not that guy in everyday life, right? Like I work at a ski shop, I photograph weddings. I'm like the most jolliest person in the world when it comes to like weddings, and I'm like, oh my god, everything's beautiful. Like that's what I do. I make a living doing photography. But with the podcast, I have this alter ego, this Mr. Adam X, and with Telemark specifically, it's like, I hate on it, which has done really well for me in creating a community because the hate has created a conversation. And one of my favorite sayings is you don't have to be good to be good. And that's where I think Nate is missing it. Like you don't have to be this expert telemark skier or filmer or whatever. Like Nate, you're doing more for this community than arguably me or CJ are. Like you have an entire fleet of demos. They're free to use. You volunteer your time, like teaching people how to do a sport that you love. Like I'm not volunteering that time. I'm not doing that. So I think everyone has their own way of doing it. My way happens to be like memeing my way back into this community, talking shit about it, but also being very involved and having an idea, a concept of how to actually telemark ski. I don't think what I did personally would have worked if I wasn't a telemark skier at my core, right? Like I don't think Adam Jabber could have done this because he can make fun of telemark, but if he can't telemark, it doesn't work. It was like Patty O'Connell when he put out that article and everyone's just mad at him. And it's like, I had the hate and I wish I had as much hate as Patty O got. That was some good heat.
He got real good hate on that.
The wrestling business. That's cheap heat. That's beautiful. That's I hope for that. But like, I think I gained a little credibility quicker within this telemark community because people found out that I could actually telemark. I met Colin, and what's Colin's girlfriend's name? Brickles. Brickles. And like we skied all day at World Telemark Day that you guys hosted, CJ, and that was the first time we had met in real life. We skied all day, and at the end of the day, you called me X or Adam X, and she was like, "Wait, you're Adam X? I thought I would hate you." She didn't mean that way, but that's my persona, right?
Right.
So like I'm doing, like it worked for me to do it that way. Nate, I don't think you need to be an expert filmer to grow your community, to grow, like you're doing that with your demo fleet. And as far as filming, like people just want to see people having a good time. I think they made the first turns in the Adirondacks on like a road, and they were bad turns because you're on a road and you like there's an inch of snow. Yeah. It wouldn't have anything to do with them. It was just like you can't set an edge. And that's good content. And I think people learning and having a good time creates good content. It doesn't always have to be bangers necessarily. And also, who cares about content? Like you can grow and own your community, and that can have more reach and power than anything we ever do on like what we'll call this loose national scale, right?
Sure. Yeah. Nate, I think it's tough because I think when someone tries to start a project or wants to do something that's beneficial and productive for a sport or a community or company or whatever you're doing, even if it has nothing to do with telemark, I think it's our natural human tendency to look at the resources we don't have versus looking at the resources that we do have. So Nate comes into this saying that he's not great with the camera. Couldn't remember if he talked about kind of his tele skill, although I feel like everyone tends to undersell that a bit.
Except for me.
Yeah, yeah, except for Adam X. He's clearly pro.
Oh my God.
But look at the resources you have, and I think that's what he's done already. If you have time, use that time. That time could be used to teach somebody, go out with somebody. So actively ignoring you right now, Adam. It's insane. If you have money or resources or funds through a company, you can use that to get the demo setups like Nate has done. Like what Nate has done is already positive because he has put together all the resources through his time and whatever funding that's kind of coming through to provide really top-notch equipment to people to try Tele for the first time. They're not sitting on, and we've all started on old gear. That's great. That's an entry part of it. But if you can start on newer gear, I think that could help a lot of people, especially if you're coming from an alpine background or even a snowboard background where you see these advancements, you see what the gear looks like. And if you just look at it and judge the book by its cover and see the fleet he's put together, you already think to yourself like, oh, wow, this is like a real new tech thing. That's pretty rad. As far as the ability to film goes, what does it matter? Like to me, and this is what I try to do with my films too, is I think right now where Telemark is showing absolute banger single trick shots doesn't overshadow showing fun on the gear in terms of getting more people involved with Telemark. I don't think I love seeing dubs. I love seeing the bigger rail tricks. I think it's super sick. And obviously I want to include those in my movies, but I don't think that targets growing the community just yet. I think we're so small still right now that we need to show how much fun you could be having on Tele to want to get into it. So all of that fun aspect. I mean, when I grew up skateboarding, we used the crappiest camcorder at first on like high 8 videotapes and VHS, VHS recorders or, is that what you would call it? A VHS recorder?
I mean, it was a high 8, right? Like that was an actual film.
High 8 was like this size cassette,
one, yeah.
But then like I actually used my parents' like
that'd be a
doggy VHS recorder.
Yeah.
But the footage was bad, quality was bad, tricks were bad, but it was so fun for us to be making something, and all the fun we were having would be noticed by other people either watching or somehow observing it, whether we made a dumb little film to show at a shop or something like that. So focus on all the fun that you can have and not so much what the technical quality is or what tricks are being landed. Like Adam said, I mean, that the two of you, and I think it was maybe Nate and Jeremy, maybe not, going on that country road with just a dusting of snow and dorking around. To me, that might have been one of the first clips that really got me excited for the Telemark season, was seeing that, because it's two people on their gear, whatever it was, on some crappy road, really not even skiing conditions, but they were so excited about Telemark and being together and doing this stuff that they got out in those dumb conditions to go ski, filmed it on an iPhone or something. And it was awesome. And it made me so excited to get back into skiing, because granted, when I'm kind of going through the editing season, I get a little sour, little beat down, and seeing something like that, like, fully reminded me what gets me stoked about Telemark. So make whatever you think is fun. Don't think about the things that are negative. Think about the things that are positive. I feel like Telemark 2 in general has a pretty, I hate to say this, but it's almost, there's not enough content saturation for there to be such a high standard that you need to judge what you're putting out on whether you put it out or not. There's just not enough yet to do that. In Alpine, I could see that, where it's just flushed with all these kids that are ripping. They've got great camera systems and everything. And I could see you having like some hesitation with that. Although even Alpine skiing segments now are kind of retroactively going back to like DVXs, HVXs, using older, cheaper fisheyes. Like they're kind of bringing that quality down, because I think that was kind of hurting it a little bit to be so high, and it just takes out all of the character and culture and personality from it. So, but Telemark's not there at all. Telemark right now is do what you want to do to have fun. That's why I made Kings and Queens. Kings and Queens of the Heel is something that I just put out. Well, it's the 6th year now, but it dropped on January 1st. And that's all about having fun on your skis with whatever camera setup you have, even if it's an iPhone, although, you know, remarkably, an iPhone's a pretty good camera setup like these days. And, you know, the challenges in there are set for people that are good and can do bigger rail tricks, and for people that have literally never stepped into telemark boots or bindings ever until this season. And it's all about just creating the fun, showing the fun. And then the return on my end is to be able to show those videos to everybody in hopes that everyone sees how much fun you guys are having and they want to get into telemark. So I know that was ranty and maybe overly rainbows and unicorns and stuff, but that's generally my thought, is that the best thing you can do is show the people that don't know how much fun telemark skiing can be, how much fun the community can be, and just go from there. Use the resources you have and follow that path, and make sure you're having fun doing it too, because it's noticeable if you're not having fun doing it.
Yeah, and to note, Nate hosted a viewing of your movie in Placid and had like 200 people. Like, this guy is spreading, as our first voicemail said, the good word of 24-25 or whatever he said. So I don't know. I don't think you have to be good to be good. I think that's what it all boils down to. I want to touch on this because obviously you just brought it up. Shout out to CJ and Tele COLO and all the sponsors involved for putting together the Kings and Queens of the Heel. If you're not familiar with this is a telemark video clip competition. It's not really an edit comp, and maybe I'm wrong, and I'm going to rant and tell you what I think it is, and then you can tell me I'm wrong. But it's kind of like, you know, the best way, the best way to put it is like, it put Telecraw on the map. So like, you can either love this event or hate this event. I'll tell you where I land. No, but it's kind of like, it's really neat. And you kind of touched on it, that like telemark's not there yet. This is like, telemark's young as far as like the new school goes, or like, you know, we had telefilms years ago and then they disappeared and now it's back again. Right. So like, it's really cool. Like, this could be your intro into a telefilm. This could be your intro and like people getting eyes on your skiing, which if that's what you think is important, you can do that. And it's like so broken down into so many things. Oh, I got the wrong one up. There it is. You know, like, it has all the old videos so you can go look at them. It's got some liability mumbo jumbo, which like, I'm not going to read that. General rules. I don't think you should have any rules because that's stupid. No longer than 8 minutes and 27 seconds. Why is that the number?
It felt good at the time.
Okay. I like that. There's an asterisk on the awards because I never got my award, and I was in King of the Heel edit. So if I was in an Oscar-winning documentary or Emmy-winning documentary, I would also get that award. So take it what you will for the awards, because they don't make any sense. But it really breaks down like general, like, you can get 30 points for skiing a green run. Like, even Adam Jabber can ski a green run, maybe. Jib a litter box, switch Tele a green run, Tele a blue run. Like, those are, you know, just boring, easy ones, which I think is like kind of neat that you do this, CJ, because you're not like cutting anyone out, right? Like, I think that's the point.
Right. This is about everybody. It's supposed to be very inclusive for anyone to be a part of it,
which is neat and different than most ski film competitions, if we'll call it a competition. Incorporate the Pretty Good Telemark Show themed element into your edit. I don't know if that's me, but it's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but I'm changing the rules right now. If you incorporate the Pretty Good Telemark Show song into your edit, you'll get points. We don't know how many points. This could be on here. I haven't read this. CJ didn't give me.
I'm kind of wondering if it's on here too. I can't remember.
He did not give me the tools to succeed, but I'm announcing the Pretty Good Telemark Show challenge right at this moment. If you incorporate the Pretty Good Telemark Show theme song into your edit, you will get some type of point value.
How do you feel about that had to vent challenge under the legendary?
I'm getting there. Legendary's at the bottom.
Right there.
Hang on. I'm not there yet. Still announcing my challenge. This is a big deal for me. You're adding this to the catalog. The asterisk is it cannot be longer than like 8 seconds of the song.
Oh my God. Thank you.
Like, there has to be a limit, but I want CJ to be watching it and not know when it's coming. And then boom, it hits. So bonus points for that. I'm just going to call it a 50-pointer. But you also can be deducted 100 points if it doesn't fit.
Ooh, judgment call.
So that's my judgment call. I will make the call.
gamblers.
I don't know if CJ is going to approve this challenge, but 50 points if you put it in your edit, but could deduct 100 points if it doesn't work. Like it always works for us. That's why it's so good. I will send you the song if you need the song. But we have it dialed that it always works. So you can't just randomly throw it in. Oh no, we have a special guest.
God.
You can't just throw it in.
Pretty good telemark.
It's got to work.
How we doing?
Special guest, Tele
How we
Craw
doing?
is back. He's
How's your
got
service now,
service.
Crawford?
Let's see. Yeah, I'm on Wi-Fi now. Can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
loud and clear, bub.
Oh yeah. How you guys doing?
Not too bad. How about you, buddy?
Oh, good. First off, I just want to say it's such an honor to be here amongst two of the greats. You know, just really, truly, just so honored. And I just want to thank my supporters, and just really, it just means the world to me to be here today amongst truly some of the greats.
I think I said
Thank
your
you.
name 3 times and you appeared, honestly.
Yeah, pretty much it goes like that.
It's like yelling red rum into the mayor.
I just got finished
Totally.
saying that the king and queen heels. I don't know what it's called. King of the heel. King and
what-
queens created
What
Tele.
created me? Yeah, it really birthed something wild.
So that for that, I'm canceling it. You got any hot takes, Telecraw? Let's try to keep them PG. I don't want to edit this. So this is your 60 seconds with Telecraw, everybody. Live and in
Cool,
person.
live. A voicemail that I left is that everybody should try to get out and ski at independent or small town resorts the most they can. I know in New England you have like 80 million options or whatever, but here on the West Coast, things are starting to get pretty dire in terms of mega corporations. So yeah, we just had Wenatchee Telefest out at Mission Ridge. We had over 100 registered participants, which was sick. Yeah, 100 people. I can't wait for some of the. It was also like the most heavily recorded Telefest that probably has ever happened. It looked like a reality TV show at some moments. There was so many fucking cameras going. It was crazy. But yeah, we did like a single. Oh, sorry, no cussing. We did a giant like single mass drop run with like 75 or 80 teleskiers, and it had to be one of the wildest things I've ever been a part of. It was crazy.
Hell yeah.
Adam, do you have the like ultimate podcast? Is that like a 360 cam that tracks your face? Dude, nice.
I'm a professional, dude. I can zoom
CJ's
it.
finally
sometimes.
broken out of the van.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can zoom it. Sometimes it doesn't work. He's sick. He's not doing well. So ski independent resorts, show up. Telecraw, you're very positive today. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super positive. Yeah, that festival, dude, this was the second year. Last year we had 50 people show up. This year we had 100.
What's
So-
next? 200?
I don't know, man. I don't know. We're
500?
thinking we might try to get Guinness World Records out to certify us as the longest telemark human slalom in the world. And then
We already own that.
Ooh.
Yeah, Hawaiian Nationals is going to have to take that back from us. So we might start a little Guinness World Records.
No, you're gonna have to take it from the City Garage Tele stock because we've been owning it for years. We just don't care. Where'd you get a cat from?
Yeah, the weird looking cat.
That's my
Uh-oh.
least favorite type of cat.
What a delight!
Truly.
What a delight, Telecraw. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me. You guys are sweet. What's the hot topic of this week?
Oh, just
Ranting?
how great everything is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. You guys are being positive. I will say something great, more positivity from Telecraw. That bandit, man, that binding is awesome. Everybody should try to see the friggin' 22 Designs bandit. That thing is sweet. I know this is brought to you by Bishop, which is also sweet. But it was fun having Gunner and Van having two opposing athletes skiing around together. It was sick this weekend. But yeah, the bandit,
It's
Telecraw
okay. We
endorsement.
know there's other brands out there that exist, and we support all of them.
2 out of 4 are in America, baby. American made.
It's a beautiful thing. What a pleasure, Telecraw. Thank you so much.
The Pretty
All right,
Good Telemark Show. Laughs and stories.
Telecraw, everybody. Telecraw. I booted him. He doesn't even know. He's sitting there listening to me talk right now.
So much positivity. That is so wild.
Kicking
It's
from
not so
studio.
much positive on the bench anymore.
No, it's good. That was Telecraw. I don't know if people are gonna like this. How do we go so long every time? I love this so much. I'm so distracted by Telecraw showing up that I like lost where I was. Hang on, you were having me look at this legendary. Cut the bellows of your Tele boots and ski run. Yeah, just keep ruining all the boots that are already get rid of them. I love that. Telemark more than 50% of a ski mountain's runs in a day. Dude, that's easy because I got resorts that have like 3 runs open right now. So
I figured.
Don't ski a single day this season. I actually love that. What's your favorite one, CJ?
It's tough, but like I try to make this where essentially you can be just the absolute noob at Tele, or you've been doing it for a while and still have fun. If you go down to, there's the miscellaneous challenges, which tend to be my favorites just because these generally have nothing to do with actual skiing.
This is long.
Yeah, I sit down, I crack open a beverage, and I just come up with ideas. One I'm pretty excited about is Taco Bell came out with chicken nuggets, if people don't know about that. So one of the challenges for 30 points, really the reward should just be being a part of this monumental event from Taco Bell, is to order the new chicken nuggets from Taco Bell, then finish off with a shot of the new Fire Ranch sauce.
Whoa.
Have fun with that. There's another one where you have to ski with sauce chicken wings in one of your mitts, and then
not very inclusive,
ranch in another mitts.
Not very inclusive. I'm vegan.
How about well, you can skip that one. I'm sure there's no meat in the Taco Bell chicken nuggets anyway, so you know better than that. But no, I love these because this tends to be the section that brings out a lot of the personality in the teams, because they tend to pick what fits their vibe, what they want to do. And it's so fun on April 1st when everyone submits their edits. That's got to be under the 8 minutes and 32 seconds or whatever it is.
I don't know.
Yeah, I already forgot. It's just so fun to see all the things they do. We have take a classic Sears catalog family portrait of your whole team.
Love that.
Buy a booster pack of Pokemon cards while wearing your Tele boots, plus 50 points if you get a full art holo. I love that one.
I hate that.
But
that's like too niche.
Oh no, it's not. It is
niche,
not at all. Show us your holographic cards. We have a Better in Japan challenge for those that know the Japan hype. It's one teammate must eat all 3 meals from a 7-Eleven or similar gas station / market for one day. If you've been to Japan or you see the segments, everyone loves the onigiri and everything else.
Dude. My every day.
You got your 100 points.
I only get 100 if I do it every day. I'm up to like 5,000 points.
If you go back to the rules you don't like, it's going to say you can't just keep doing the same challenge all the time.
The rules are boring.
But yeah, this dropped January 1st. This contest runs through April 1st. You drop your segment. 2 ways to win. Your team either gets the most points, and we have a highly uneducated group of judges to check out to make sure your points are valid. Apparently, Adam X is now a part of that for one particular challenge.
Yep, I'm in.
And then also what we'll do is we'll release everyone's segments out on YouTube, and we'll have it open for voting for a week for people to vote for their favorite segment. And those tend to be the really fun ones. So, maybe you're not getting the most points, but you can put together a really fun killer edit. All those options are available. You're going to win skis, bindings, outerwear, $50 bar tab to your favorite Chuck E. Cheese's, whatever you want. It's a really fun contest. I love seeing all the people that come out of it. And honestly, a couple of the TC writers now I have met through this. So Greg Yearsley, who writes for TC, writes for Bishop Telemark, RMU skis. I found out about him through Kings and Queens. Again, are we happy that Telecraw came out of Kings and Queens? It's up to your opinion, but he did.
Debatable.
Gunnar Stoltno, who writes for 22 Designs, I found out about him through him submitting a segment for Kings and Queens. We invited him out to one of the Why Not Park shoots, and now, he's going on these trips with us and everything. So this is also kind of a cool way for yourself or your crew or whatever to kind of gain exposure to in a fun, dorky way to be on the mountain. So love this contest. Glad it's out again. I'm even more happy that I'm done with the book for another year so I can procrastinate until next year.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And anyone can enter. It's free to enter, I think, right? It doesn't
Yep.
cost money.
Totally free.
You know, it's a pretty cool thing. It's very rare for sure in like our outdoor industry to be able to be like invited to sit at the table and like have your stuff promoted and the opportunity to win stuff. And I think that's what makes Telemark kind of neat right now, is that it is still so small that you can do these things and there's sponsors involved that will support it.
Yep. Yep. Huge deal that all these sponsors that are part of it, that are providing all the prizes for all the teams, continue to support it year after year. Because I think they're seeing all the fun in it too.
Yeah, I think it's just like an easy, I don't want to say easy, but like it's a cool, neat thing that happens within the telemark community that doesn't happen other places.
Yep. So check it out. It's at telecolo.ski/pages/KQ.
Oh boy.
I know. Or you can just go to telecolo.ski. There's a KQTH tab at the top.
That's easier.
Check out the fun little intro video for it. You can check out all of the past year's submissions. So there's 5 years of submissions that you can check out on the website. And then also grab the task booklet. We do update it occasionally throughout the season. So make sure to keep checking out the website, see if there's a V2 or V3 that's going to have more challenges or what have you. So check it out there, join in on the nonsense, and we'll see your submissions. There's the pages. There you go.
How does my hand work?
It seems
That
to be
way.
working fine on my end. Yeah, there you go.
Well, it was a hard turn. I don't know why it does that and not the ticker, but I don't know what I'm doing. CJ, anything else you want to talk about? Hit here. I feel pretty good. I feel bad that we just like rant sometimes, but I think maybe, oh no, we got one more special thing. I forgot about this entirely.
I think we end it with a banger here. I agree. This has been a heavy ranting episode, but this is why we love doing this, right? Like I love talking about Telemark.
It's just airing our grievances. Again, if you guys want something, you want us to talk about something, like call the number 716-599-0917 is the number. It'll go straight to voicemail. Keep it under 3 minutes and I can play the whole thing. You don't have to. I don't need your life story. I'll take your life story. I care. I do, but like, I don't need it. Get to the point. It makes it easier for me to be able to play these on the air. I try not to play them for CJ until he hears them live, so he has a genuine reaction. Don't swear. Keep it clean. But that really helps fuel the episodes. Obviously, Telemark, sorry for this rant, CJ, but Telemark has changed a lot this year. But we're not going to have that every year. We're not going to have new boots, 2 new boots. We'll have a new boot next year. Again, it's already been leaked. Multiple new bindings. We're not going to have that every year. So the more you guys can air your grievances and we can talk and we can figure stuff out and continue to grow this community, that helps. I think we have loosely committed to doing this next year. I'm talking like this is my last episode, and maybe it is. But
we all got fired.
Yeah. What do you have going on here?
Okay, it is finally time. During the film tour, we always do a couple different raffles. One of them is a way for me to unload the van while I'm driving. You get prizes the day of. The other one is what we call the end of tour raffle. So this includes, oh gosh, what was it? You're going to be getting a set of skis from Bishop Telemark of your choosing. So you can get that length you want. We're no longer giving 186s to a 4'2" person. So that's beneficial.
Heck yeah.
We also give away, and this is all to one person, we also give away this year a set of the new Bandits from 22 Designs. We're going to be giving away a full outerwear kit from Fly Low Gear, as well as a full, what I call the Opera merch kit from TC. Whatever threads you're wanting to grab from us, you can snag them in your sizes. And this is going to one person for people that came to a show or registered with the little QR code that was up on the screen before we started showing the movies. It is time to finally pick who the lucky end of tour winner is going to be. So we can go ahead and throw this screen up. Yet again, we're on a very janky free website called thewheelofnames.com. And I've got all 951 entries here ready for
Can you scroll the names? Can you scroll the names right now? You got to do this so that anyone who doesn't think their name is there, they can see it.
Oh, it's in there. I've gone through the meticulous task of adding them all through the surveys, through the ticket purchases, making sure all the duplicates are gone so everyone gets a fair chance here.
I hope I win.
Ready to go. Adam X didn't show up to any of the premieres, so he better not win.
No storm. Genuine. I was like, I can't do it.
All right, so I'm gonna click this off. We're gonna have the winner, and
this is it. I'm gonna play music for it.
Yeah, happy 2025, especially to this person that's winning that full Tele kit. And I'm gonna click it now. Boop. Oh.
Stop for YouTube purposes.
It's spinning. In the end of tour raffle winner is going to be T Flicker 10. All right, that's 10. It. Congratulations, T Flicker.
Oh man, tflicker10@gmail.com. You have won a major award from our homies over at Tele, COLO, 22 Designs, Bishop.
Fly low.
Fly low.
Yep. You got the whole hookup. I will try to figure out who T Flicker 10 is and be reaching out to you. But congratulations. This is the end of my rant, but I just want to thank everybody that came out to the film tour this year. It was absolutely insane to see how many people showed up, how many people were returners from previous premieres and tour stops, people that were new, people that weren't even tele skiers and then got dragged there and seemed to pretend they were having a good time. It means the world to me. It means the world to me that the sponsors continue to support this tour and that Adam X has brought me onto this nonsense Tele show so we can just keep ranting about BS and announce the winners this way.
What an absolute delight.
Pretty Good Telemark Show. Laughs and stories steal the show. Join the ride, let's have some fun. Skiing.
There's really no other way to finish this, you know?
It is the best way possible. I don't like being unmuted on this. I'm muting myself.
Join the ride, let's have some fun.